An inquest on a woman who died after undergoing IVF treatment has recorded a verdict of accidental death. 37-year-old Nina Tanky from Great Glen in Leicestershire suffered complications while being treated at the Leicester Royal Infirmary last August. She died 5 days later.
Nina Tanky was a happy, healthy 37-year-old woman desperate to have a baby. Her family members have found it very difficult to come to terms with her sudden and untimely death. They've been plagued by numerous questions since her death in August 2006. The inquest today has answered some of those questions.
Next tonight,
But first tonight, the man who repeatedly complained of chest pains and was told by his doctor to take heartburn tablets.
Less than 6 weeks later, 57-year-old Ray Clark died from a heart attack while on holiday. The GP has admitted he was wrong not to refer him to hospital for tests and has paid out compensation to Mr Clark's widow.
From Leicestershire, our health correspondent Rob Sissons reports.
Can you remember what it was that precipitated your husband's visits to the GP?
Chest pains. He said he was...
Pam says she thinks about her husband's death virtually every day. Ray Clark was a builder in Leicestershire. His widow's solicitors documented how in 2004, over 6 weeks, he'd gone to the doctors 3 times, complaining of chest pains. The GP since admitted he should have done more. If Ray had been sent to hospital, the 57-year-old might be alive today.
If he'd have had an operation in time, yes, he would have been fine. He would, but it didn't happen that way.
On the first visit, Dr Philip Hussey suspected indigestion. When the chest pains carried on, he prescribed different medication. 6 days later, he visited the doctor again after reporting more chest pain, having fainted twice at home. The doctor suggested anxiety. A week later, he was dead. It was in Malaga where he woke up in the night with breathing problems and suffered a fatal heart attack. Ray Clark had gone to see his GP here at the Syston Health Centre in Leicestershire. Tonight, Dr Philip Hussey said he regretted the death and wanted again to extend his deepest sympathy to the family. They've accepted compensation, but won't say how much it is.
We were brought up to believe exactly what the doctor had told you.
In this case, the greatest tragedy is that there were 2 opportunities to take action. Both opportunities sadly were missed.
My son, who was 5 at the time, his grandfather, it wasn't just his grandfather to him, he was his mentor. He's really struggled to cope with it. My mother obviously was totally devoted to my father. She's struggling to cope. We all are.
It was totally wrong. Should never, ever have happened. He could have been saved.
The family is urging the General Medical Council to look into the case. Rob Sissons, East Midlands Today, Leicestershire.
Next tonight, prisoners are...
But first tonight, a shattered dream. A baby boy is all one mother ever wanted, but it ended in tragedy because of substandard maternity care.
Sadie Rain now knows she should have had a caesarean birth. Then things would probably have been so different. Instead, her son was born brain damaged.
It was all down to a breakdown in communication on an NHS labour suite. Baby Kofi died 3 weeks later in his mother's arms.
All they ever wanted was a healthy baby boy. But Kofi suffered brain damage because the labour was mishandled. Sadie's uterus ruptured. She needed hours of emergency surgery, and both mum and baby ended up in intensive care.
He was the first son and he was the first grandson. So everyone was really happy. Really, really happy. And it's just like everyone's dreams got threw away.
It's hard. It's just really difficult. Every day is a different day, but you have to try your best to cope, just to get on.
I was expecting to go in, have the baby, come out and be at home the next day. And to me, I went in, came out with no baby at all.
Kofi died in his mother's arms, 3 weeks old. Leicester General's accepted blame. The family knows if there'd been a caesarean delivery, things could have been so different. The family solicitor recently settled the case following the tragedy in 2004.
The saddest part of this case is that there was nothing unusually difficult about this delivery. There was just poor communication between the midwives and the doctors, and most importantly, the doctor who was taking care of Sadie failed to recognise when she was out of her depth and when to call for help.
In a statement, the hospital trust said, "We offer our deepest sympathies. It was clear a mistake had been made and we told the family straight away. We have learnt from this mistake and changes have been made." The family's accepted £40,000 compensation, but says it's not about money. Sadie's since had another girl, Sienna, distraction from her grief. Without her, she says she wouldn't have coped. Rob Sissons, East Midlands Today, Leicester.
Well, earlier we spoke to Jeanne Roberts from the Royal College of Midwives. We asked her if such a tragedy like this could happen again.
If there are enough midwives around, chances are cases like this won't happen and they'll be much more rarer. We have, from the Royal College of Midwives, have said to the government that we need more midwives on the floor. We're looking at 5,000 midwives for England alone this year. And that's really important because we find that when things go wrong, if you look back, it may be due to a shortage of midwives. There's not enough people there to provide the care that's required.
Because Mrs. Rains saw a number of different midwives, and that's not what you want, is it?
To give them good care, you probably want to limit the number of midwives that you see to about 3 or 4 throughout the whole pregnancy. So it's a team approach to care.
But surely when you hear of cases like this and you accept there aren't enough midwives, you do feel very worried.
Certainly we do. When you consider that a significant number of midwives will be retiring over the next 5 to 10 years, the government needs to do something now. Otherwise, the midwives that are here now are under a lot of pressure, and that pressure will continue, and mistakes will continue to be made.
Next, there are calls tonight for more police in a village where a 20-year-old man was stabbed. It happened in Cockgrave in Nottinghamshire, where some people say they're afraid to go out after dark. Well, the police say they're doing all